The purpose of the Global CFO Council is to provide an educational and networking forum for senior financial executives in order to share best practices, discuss current financial issues, and to learn about current topics related to the performance of their jobs.
Walter, good afternoon. How are you doing today, sir?
Great, Robert.
I am also doing great, and I am looking forward to talking with you today. I'm excited. We had a little pre-talk, and I am interested in learning more about you. And Walter Young is the CFO at Alaska Sea Life Center, which looks like it's a museum from stuff that I found online. Wearing the merch on his sweatshirt. Very well done. Who says accountants can't be in sales? Walter, I think you are in Utah or live in Utah, but also work for the Alaskan Sea Life Center, which I'm guessing is in Alaska?
Seward, Alaska, 2.5 hours from Anchorage, right next to the ocean and Resurrection Bay.
That is awesome. I had couple 3 years ago, went to Alaska, loved it. It was a wonderful place. Definitely only want to visit. Couldn't live there. As a born and raised in Florida guy, I could barely handle the summer
chilly
in Alaska. Yeah, just a little bit.
Flip-flops never made it out of the suitcase, I bet.
No, I was in like full winter ski gear in the summer. People were looking at me and my family. They thought we looked weird, but we were warm. And Walter, super interesting career all over the place. You've been corporate finance, baking, as a data officer, risk officer, very impressive. Very large organizations like Citi, Wells Fargo, Deloitte, Zions, M&T Bank. It looks like maybe this is a second career position that you're at now. Didn't seem like you've been in the museum business for the past 20 years. So that was really interesting. And then also it looks like undergrad in math and chemistry, University of Pittsburgh. Is that true?
And Carnegie Mellon.
Yes. And now this is the interesting
now called
one.
the Temper School.
You have an MSIA. And I think that's one of three things. Either a Master's of Interior Architecture, a Master's of Science in Analytics, or a Master's in Science of Information Assurance?
Industrial Engineering.
Really? Industrial engineering?
Industrial Administration.
I got you. Well, I work at an engineering company, so I bet you've, that's a great process improvement and process and project design. Very cool. But now a certified public accountant, and it looked like from the interwebs that you also at some point or still like to do some swimming, biking, and water polo. Is that true?
Correct.
I'm fascinated.
Swimming All-American, high school, and water polo Final 8 at NCAA's.
Dang.
And I swim a mile every other day still.
I'm sorry. It sounded like you said a mile every other day.
Every other day.
Wow. So
my son's 25 minutes.
You can swim a mile in 25 minutes?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so folks, I'm in pretty good shape. I can't swim a mile, nor could I swim a mile in 25 minutes. I one time kayaked watching a kid swim a mile in Scouts because my son's in Scouts. Somebody was getting a merit badge. I was tired kayaking the mile, just watching the kid swim. So that is impressive, Walter. Wow.
I was the merit badge counselor for swimming in my little neighborhood.
that was appropriate.
And I did a mile under 20 minutes once, under 19 minutes, technically. Yeah. Pretty good.
He's just bragging now, folks. That's super
I'm 1,000
fast.
yards at around 10 minutes.
That's super, super fast. Okay. Yeah. Walter is legit. Let's get into this. Now you've set the bar high with this intro. You are clearly an interesting dude. And let's kick off into question number one. What is your favorite business book and why?
Robert, you're going to beat me up, but I'm going to give you too fast. The 5 dysfunctions of a team, right? Bad teams have absence of trust, fear of conflict, they lack commitment, they avoid accountability, and they're inattentive to results. That's the theme of that book. The other one was Execution by Larry Bossidy. He wrote about that, the expedition in Antarctica, I believe. But know your people, know your business, insist on realism, set clear goals and priorities, follow through, reward the doers, expand your people's capabilities, and know yourself. So those are the 2 books that make a difference.
Ooh, bringing it today, a twofer, and a first one to mention Execution. I don't think I've read that one, but I loved the summary. I wrote that down, and I'm going to check that one out. Thank you for
Bossidy, Bossidy. Larry Bossidy, Execution.
Question number 2. What is the best advice that you have ever received?
I had a few I couldn't eliminate again, but the first one was on a swimming pool years ago, 50 years ago. Self-discipline breeds excellence. Self-discipline breeds excellence. There's still All-American swimmers swimming every day at age 70 with that on the wall in the same pool in York, Pennsylvania. Anyway, the best real advice was only get an education at a top business school that places you. So you got a good reputation. It's really hard to get in, but they help place you when you get out. I had 10 job offers coming out of Carnegie Mellon. Okay. Oil and banking, ended up in banking. Here's another one. A goal not written is only a wish.
Mm.
Here's the last one. When performance is measured, performance improves. And when performance is measured and reporting on, performance improves dramatically. So there's a lot of good management stuff in there.
Walter's getting some extra credit today. Clearly an overachiever. Loved all of the quotes, but loved a goal not written is only a wish. Walter, the first time I say that, I'll give you credit. And then after that, I'm just going to say, as I always say, very good.
It'll get your staff to set some goals. What did you wish to do last year? That sounds pretty bad.
Yeah, life is really about just that. It's not enough to just dream and talk about it, post about it. You want to be about it. And one way to do that is to set a goal, a smart goal, if you can.
Right.
Question number 3. I'm expecting something impressive here, Walter. What is a tool that you have recently started using, or a habit that you've recently picked up that you have found beneficial?
Well, my boss, the CEO of this Alaska Sea Life Center, who's a PhD from Johns Hopkins. So, I'm messing around with scientists and aquarists. Real people that deal in real scientific matters like you do with those engineers behind you. But I've written annual goals, right? And weekly, I review progress on those goals. What did I do this week? And I have a side list of my goals for next year there. And my 4th item is I have a list of all the things that I haven't done yet. Some may be important, some may be urgent, sort of the crap list, what am I going to do next week list. And then my boss and I prioritize next week. You talk about what's more important, but what's urgent. And that's what I go through in about an hour once a week with my boss.
Walter, speaking of your current job, what's the best part of your current job?
You'll laugh about this in the way I say it, but walking through the aquarium at night, once it's closed, you're maybe the last to leave. Sometimes the security guard checks on you thinking you're a criminal or something, and saying goodnight to the marine animals. Or you could say, leaving work, saying goodnight to all the animals. Depends where you work. I say goodnight to the marine animals. Yeah.
Is there a particular animal that you like to have maybe the most heartfelt goodbye with, or maybe think they're starting to understand that you're leaving? Any animal care that you're leaving?
The most care is from the jellyfish. They have really small, they don't have brains, but yeah, they look pretty cool at night. They sort of shine, they're phosphorus like. It's pretty cool in the darkness. Yeah.
Walter, what is something personal that you wouldn't mind sharing about yourself with the rest of the CFO Council members?
Grandfather of 7 and a husband of 42 years. And one of the daughters has 2 kids and lived in Anchorage. So that's sort of how I got the Alaska connection to my daughter, although a headhunter found me. But I said, yeah, I could consider ending sales and going into a CFO to a nonprofit and help society.
Well, a grandkid will do that. That'll make you want to visit the state a little more frequently if there's a grandkid there. So well played. And now all the CFOs want to know, you've been a data officer, risk officer, sales, business development. You've done it all. CFO, that's got to be the hardest role that you've ever had.
Yes. As I was heading to the airport to take this job, the CEO emailed me and said, Walter, we might not have money to pay you. So you don't have to come if you don't want to work gratis for a while. And then COVID hit. This was March of 2020. Closures. But now 2 years later, roughly 3 year-end closings later, we have enough cash for the next 3 or 4 years. It's tight. So I will have hit my 5-year goal of getting the Alaska Sea Life Center from no cash for the next 2 weeks to surviving, to many grateful donors, foundations, PPP 1 and 2, and employee retention tax credits 1, 2, and 3. We will survive for a good number of years in the future. So that's sort of an answer.
That's fantastic. And what a way to be giving back to the community. It's that there's not a lot of opportunities in some communities for educational centers like that. It's great for the kids. Those are frequent stops for students to come visit those type of facilities and scouts
Yes.
like my kids are in. So that's awesome. What a great way to give back to the community and then use your financial expertise for the good of others. So well done. And pretty exceptional performance.
www.alaskasealife.org. So it is a nonprofit. Yeah.
Who says accountants can't sell? Well done. Walter, question number 6, last question. It happened so fast. What is something that I should have asked you, but I didn't? And what is your answer to that?
Well, you did a nice job, Robert, summarizing, but you can see I've been in banking a long time and have white hair and, a CPA for many years there. Someone asked me, do the people you've hired, how many have you hired over that 40 years and have they become successful? And I've hired people that outperform me. And although I once saved a bank $1 billion of capital, but they've become bank presidents, CFOs, treasurers, CIOs, chief data officers, and I still get LinkedIn messages and from them when they get promoted. One just became a major bank treasurer and CFO recently. And the key is who I hired. I could hire nationally through a diverse hiring pool. And I look for 3 things, and a great CFO named Doyle Arnold helped me with these 3, but I look for someone that had a leadership trait. They were a leader. They had team skills. And because I came out of Carnegie Mellon, really GMAT's in the top 5-6%, but I call it analytical IQ. So leadership, team, analytical IQ, and those people could do all these jobs throughout their careers. And I even found a guy in a mailroom, a minority, just pumping mail in slots, and he became a computer expert. He had a computer degree and a minority. So I think now a married father, who he married a PhD. So I mean, the whole life changed, right? And back to leadership, teamwork, and analytical. And if you find people that can do all those 3 things, you can probably put them in any job. And on the CFO side, that might be a guy that passed or a woman that passed a CFA or CPA in one sitting. Didn't have to take 5 years to become a CPA, but people that really are good at it. Accounting would help on the CFO side. That's about it.
Well, I think it's so true to live out that sort of mantra, and that the legacy that we leave is investing in others, and how we can sort of look back at the ladder, look back to where we came from and help others up, and feed into others and mentor and coach them. So I think that is fantastic, and what a great lesson and inspiration for all of us as we're listening to this. Walter,
let me try to pull that together with one thought.
Yeah.
My dad got an 800 on his SATs. So as we were driving around in the car, he's always asking math, doing the math tables. So he made us analytical by just pressing us all the time. We never knew when he was going to ask me a math question. And I was on a swimming team, right? So I learned teamwork, water polo player. I was the goalie. I was sort of orchestrating everything. But then what as a leader? You can lead at anything. I'm not, but you've shown leadership on your resume. And those are the kind of people that were successful that I noticed in my short career. Back to you, Robert.
Amen. No, what a great way to close, and fantastic. I've enjoyed this conversation. It's been a pleasure getting to virtually meet you, and thank you for agreeing to do this interview. I really enjoyed it.
V-Ray, I got your back. That's above me there. So that's my people. They got each other's back. Okay.
Awesome. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.